So reframing is the widening of the context in which you see a challenge until you see it as an opportunity for learning, growth, and practice. Complaining would be then have the opposite effect. It's the narrowing. It's, you can't say deframing, but it's putting whatever the challenge is in front of you into a negative frame. As I say in the masterclass in Optimal Work, we only complain about challenges, and yet challenges are the only way we grow. So the complaining part is like the negative aspect of the challenge. What is it that we don't want? The reframing is the positive aspect. How is it giving us a chance to grow? So one of the best uses of complaining is to learn to catch it and then to try to deliberately practice a reframe. And the things that we complain about are usually it's something that is repetitive. Almost always, it's a returning of a thing. That's why, anger always expresses itself in these words like always and never. You always do this. You never do this, which is almost never true. So but there's this absolutizing that takes place in anger. Complaining is just feeding on that. And so typically it has this sense that we're hyper-focused on a negative. So I think learning to practice in advance a reframe can be very helpful. What would I be likely to complain about today? Then practice in advance, coming up with one way you can see that thing could give you an opportunity to grow. At the very least, complaining gives us a chance to practice patience. So I like to say that impatience is like wine, and patience drinks it. Patience has the feeling of drinking in the substance of the feeling of impatience. You feel the urge to express the unwillingness. You feel the urge to complain, and you drink it in. You are then much more able to actually engage the challenge in a real way so that there won't be anything futile coming out of it.
Yeah, that's great. And okay, now I think maybe to talk more about that, engaging the challenge, because the second thing I want to talk about was things that might seem like complaining but are not complaining. And I think this is helpful because, people who take our advice very seriously, as they should, they say, okay, never complain. Okay, that means when something bad happens to me, I just have to take it. Otherwise, I'm complaining. So things like defending yourself or correcting an injustice, I think it's important to say that that's not in itself complaining. So I don't know if you can distinguish those things that aren't really complaining from what true complaining is.
I think the key question is, are you engaging the challenge constructively or not? So if you're able to notice the negative aspect of something and identify it as a challenge, and then to try to strategize that challenge, what could I do to somehow engage this? Like if it's something you have control over, then to try to exert that control. So if it's something you don't have control over, to maybe someone else does. So trying to improve your situation is, I think, essential often for justice.